You did not find this. It found you again. The Atlantean portal you opened was never the end. It was the beginning of a hidden lineage. Because before Atlantis, there was Lemuria, the cradle of remembrance, where souls lived in resonance with the ocean itself. And after Atlantis fell, fragments of its code traveled across the sea, surfacing again in the temples of ancient Greece. The Lemurians carried the code in their genetic memory. The Atlanteans sealed it in crystal chambers, and the Greeks disguised it in mysteries of initiation, rituals so powerful they promised rebirth beyond death. 3 civilizations, 1 hidden transmission. And if you are hearing this now, it means that same code has reached you. This is not entertainment. This is remembrance. Anchor it now so the field multiplies it through time. I carry the code of Lemuria, Atlantis, and Greece. I remember. Chapter 1: The Lemurian Memory and the Atlantean Collapse Point. You were not given a mind to invent who you are. You were given a body that remembers. Before Atlantis carved geometry into stone, Lemuria carved resonance into the water of your cells. They believed memory was not stored as stories, but as frequency, encoded in the subtle body, the breath, the crystalline lattice of intracellular water, and the spiral of DNA. Your nervous system is not only biology, it is a tuning fork. When the right note is struck, remembrance rises from the marrow like light returning to a sun. This is why certain words electricize your spine: remembrance, temple, portal, timeline, awakening, and why your skin knows before your intellect agrees. Lemurian adepts taught the DNA is an antenna. It receives, amplifies, and rebroadcasts the field. When you choose gratitude, love, coherence, the helix reorients like a compass finding north. This is not wishful thinking, it is field mechanics: frequency, resonance, embodiment, reality. Atlantis specialized where Lemuria originated. Lemuria awakened the genetic memory. Atlantis built the crystal architecture to magnify it. In the Atlantean temples, quartz acted as a living scripture. Stone does not remember like a book, it resonates like an instrument. Enter the chamber, and the chamber enters you. Your electromagnetic field begins to harmonize with sacred geometry, Merkaba, Vesica Piscis, golden ratio, until the noise of a scattered identity stills into one clear note: I am the receiver. This is where manifestation ceases to be yearning and becomes physics. The Atlanteans called it the collapse point, the instant a wavering possibility stabilizes into timeline. Modern language calls it phase locking, zero-point alignment, the moment when intention, emotion, and body synchronize. The universe does not answer the sentence you speak, it answers the signal you are. You are not chasing a future. You are decohering an old probability. Every time you breathe as one who already receives, your field broadcasts inevitability. Every time you anchor synchronicity with action, morphic resonance strengthens and the path becomes self-confirming. Identity is the true ritual. A priestess does not petition to enter the temple. She walks because her frequency is the key. When your nervous system holds remembrance long enough, reality collapses into it, like light deciding where to land. So feel what your body already knows. The Lemurian ocean is moving through your bloodstream. The Atlantean crystal is singing in your bones. The code is not coming, it is returning. This is the hinge between worlds. Receive, resonate, reorganize. And as it locks into place, a rumor from across the sea grows louder, of mysteries that preserved the same current under new names. When a civilization falls, truth changes clothing. What Lemuria held in water and Atlantis sealed in crystal, another land veiled in initiation. The next door is old stone under starry skies. They called it Eleusis. They whispered Orphic. They listened at Delphi. And in those halls, the code you carry was taught as death and rebirth, as light in the dark, as the secret that survives empire, coherence over fear. Activation. Comment to anchor the field. I carry Lemuria in my cells and Atlantis in my bones. I receive and reality collapses into me. Chapter 2. The Greek Temples and the Hidden Continuity. When the ocean swallowed Atlantis and the Lemurian memory retreated into silence, the code did not vanish. It migrated. Across seas and centuries, it re-emerged in another sacred language, myth. The Greeks called them mysteries, but they were never entertainment. They were initiation technologies. The same Atlantean and Lemurian frequency translated into ritual drama. Beneath the olive groves of Eleusis, in caves carved into living rock, initiates walked the same path: death, dissolution, remembrance, rebirth. They spoke of Persephone descending into the underworld, but the story was never about agriculture or harvest. It was about the soul's collapse point, the descent into void, the confrontation with chaos, the sacred pause before a new dawn. Just as Lemuria taught genetic resonance and Atlantis taught crystal collapse, the Greeks preserved the psychological and archetypal initiation. They coded remembrance into myth, so empires could not erase it. At Delphi, the oracle breathed the vapors of the earth, but what truly spoke was not smoke. It was frequency coherence. The Pythia entered trance so her nervous system could phase lock with the field. The question asked did not matter. The identity of the receiver did. That is why the temple bore the inscription, "Know thyself," because the moment you know thyself, you know the code. And in the Orphic hymns, the soul was reminded of its starry origin. Initiates carried small golden tablets into death, inscribed with phrases like, "I am a child of earth and of starry heaven, but my race is of heaven alone." These were not ornaments. They were activation scripts, identical in essence to the Atlantean affirmations, words designed to collapse possibility into destiny through vibration. You are not here to study history. You are here to realize continuity. These were not separate cultures inventing separate myths. They were guardians of one field, one transmission, one flame carried through different vessels, waiting for the time when consciousness could weave them back into a single remembering. And that time is now. Breathe deeply. Feel the Lemurian ocean in your blood, the Atlantean crystal in your bones, the Greek temple in your mind's eye. 3 echoes, 1 code. Activation. Comment to anchor the field. I walk the path of Lemuria, Atlantis, and Greece. 1 code, 1 remembrance, 1 flame. Chapter 3. The Guardian of Doubt and the Modern Initiation. Every temple had a threshold. Every initiate faced a guardian. In Lemuria, the guardian appeared as silence, the vast ocean with no shore, testing if the soul could trust memory without proof. In Atlantis, the guardian appeared as pressure, the collapse point itself, testing if the initiate could hold frequency while the old world dissolved. In Greece, the guardian was given a face, a myth, a name: Thanatos, Hades, the Dark One who waits at the gate of Eleusis. But all were masks of the same test: doubt. The Greeks knew this paradox. Most souls did not fail at the beginning of the path, nor in the middle. They failed right before the threshold, at the exact moment when initiation was about to crystallize. The same force still whispers today, "Are you sure? What if nothing is happening? What if you are forgotten?" This voice is not your enemy. It is the last veil. It asks not for answers, but for surrender. Because the portal does not open to those who control. It opens to those who release. This is why the Orphic initiates drank the kykeon, not for intoxication, but for disillusion of identity. They had to let go of the seeker so the receiver could emerge. This is why the Atlantean priestesses placed crystals over the heart, not to amplify desire, but to amplify trust in the unseen field. This is why the Lemurian adepts floated in the ocean, not for ritual alone, but to remember that water carries you even when you stop swimming. And this is why the same test is alive now. You are not in a Greek cave or Atlantean chamber. You are in your own life. The unanswered prayers, the collapsing structures, the silence between synchronicities. These are your guardians of doubt. Most panic here. They refresh their phones, beg for signs, tighten their grip. But that very act collapses the field back into limitation. The code is clear. Control delays, surrender accelerates. Lemuria taught you to remember through the body. Atlantis taught you to resonate through crystal. Greece taught you to release through surrender. And the modern initiation is simply this: can you let go before you are certain? Because once you surrender, the portal responds. Synchronicities multiply, identity shifts, reality reorganizes, and the guardian dissolves because he was never real. He was only the echo of your own fear waiting to be exhaled. Activation. Comment to anchor the field. I surrender to remembrance. I release control. I walk through the guardian of doubt. Chapter 4. The Thread of Destiny and the Entanglement of Souls. The ancients did not believe in chance. They believed in threads. In Lemuria, they called it the Song of the Ocean, the vibration that connected one soul to another across incarnations. In Atlantis, it was the crystal lattice, invisible filaments of light running through quartz, binding initiates to their destined reality. And in Greece, it became myth, the moirai, the fates, spinning, measuring, and cutting the threads of destiny. Different names, one truth. You are not wandering in chaos. You are entangled. Modern physics calls this quantum entanglement, when two particles, once connected, remain linked across time and distance. Touch one, the other responds instantly. The ancients knew this long before the laboratories. They saw that every soul, every desire, every sacred promise is tied to a destiny thread that vibrates beyond space and beyond lifetimes. This is why synchronicity is not coincidence, it is resonance. When you see repeating numbers, meet the right person at the right time, or feel déjà vu so strong it burns, you are tugging at the invisible cord. The field responds because the field is already bound to you. But here is the paradox every initiate had to learn. The more you chase the thread, the tighter it resists. The more you relax into resonance, the more it hums and carries what is yours effortlessly into form. The Orphics taught, you do not chase the gods, you remember you are already one with them. The Atlantean priest said, do not manifest, embody. and the Lemurians whispered through water, "Receive, and the current will carry you." So let this truth strike the center of your chest. You are already entangled with your highest reality. Your destiny is not far. It is vibrating within you. The thread has always been there, waiting for you to stop pulling in desperation and start listening in coherence. This is why synchronicities are multiplying around you. It is not random. It is the thread tightening, the code aligning, the field organizing reality into remembrance. You do not need to invent the future. You only need to allow the thread of destiny to sing freely. Activation. Comment to anchor the field. I am entangled with my destiny. I allow the thread of remembrance to carry me. Chapter 5. The identity of the receiver. Every civilization understood a secret more powerful than ritual, chant, or temple walls. The true code was not what you did, it was who you became. In Lemuria, identity was dissolved in the ocean of oneness. They trained initiates to feel not as individuals begging for light, but as cells of the cosmic body, already vibrating in harmony. In Atlantis, identity was sharpened through crystal resonance. The priest or priestess would step into chambers of quartz until their nervous system no longer carried the identity of the seeker, but of the receiver, one who already embodied the code. In Greece, identity was dramatized in myth. When Persephone descended, she did not wonder if she would return. She became the queen of the underworld. When the initiate drank the kykeon at Eleusis, they did not hope for rebirth. They died to who they were and emerged already carrying the identity of the immortal soul. This is the paradox of awakening. Reality does not obey effort, it obeys coherence. Your words, your prayers, your visualizations, all are powerless if your identity whispers contradiction. Most people say, "I am trying to manifest," but that identity collapses the field into waiting. The Atlanteans taught, "Stop hoping, start embodying." The Lemurians whispered, "Stop chasing, start remembering." The Greeks inscribed, "Know thyself." Identity is the frequency key. A seeker vibrates with distance. A receiver vibrates with inevitability. Think of it. A king does not rise wondering if he has a throne. A priestess does not approach the temple doubting if the doors will open. Their coherence guarantees access. And so it is with you. When your body, breath, and nervous system align with the truth, "I am the one who already receives," the quantum field has no choice but to collapse into that frequency. This is the identity training every lineage preserved. Lemuria dissolved separation into the ocean of unity. Atlantis amplified inevitability through crystalline coherence. Greece dramatized immortality through initiation. All of them whispered the same truth. You are not the one waiting. You are the one remembering. Activation. Comment to anchor the field. I walk as the receiver of miracles. My identity is coherence. Chapter 6. The Silence Before Birth. Every path of initiation carries a moment that feels unbearable, not because nothing is happening, but because everything is happening beyond your senses. The Lemurians called it the breath of the ocean, the great stillness between waves, when the sea seems asleep but is secretly gathering its next surge. The Atlanteans called it the womb of creation, the void before manifestation, where the quantum field holds infinite possibilities waiting for the soul to align. The Greeks knew it as the sacred pause, the hush before the Eleusinian hymns, the silence that prepared the initiate to face death and step into rebirth. All three lineages taught the same truth. Silence is not absence. Silence is preparation. But modern minds panic here. When the signs vanish, when synchronicities grow quiet, when the prayers echo back without reply, doubt surges. You think, maybe I was forgotten. Maybe the miracle has left me. Yet in reality, this is the holiest moment, the pause before the heartbeat, the darkness before the dawn, the contraction before birth. Quantum physics glimpses this mystery in the zero-point field, a vacuum that looks empty, yet teems with invisible energy. To the eye, nothing. To the truth, everything in gestation. The priestesses of Lemuria would float in water for hours, feeling the silence until their bodies tuned to the ocean's pulse. The Atlantean initiates would sit in crystal chambers, waiting in stillness until their thoughts dissolved into resonance. The Greek adepts would descend into underground halls where silence was enforced before the torchlight ritual, a silence that stripped away doubt and made space for revelation. The silence before birth is not punishment. It is the calibration of your field, the orchestration behind the curtain, the unseen alignment of people, places, and possibilities. And when it finally breaks, it does not trickle. It floods. So breathe. Feel the silence not as emptiness, but as evidence. The universe is drawing breath, and when it exhales, your reality will emerge. Activation. Comment to anchor the field. In stillness, I trust the coming wave. The silence is my proof.
Chapter 7. The Frequencies of Remembrance. Everything in existence is vibration. Every stone, every drop of water, every breath in your chest carries a frequency signature. The ancients knew this long before science measured it. In Lemuria, remembrance was carried through sound and water. Their temples were not built of stone, but of resonance. Priestesses would sing into the ocean, their voices weaving harmonics that rippled across the planet's magnetic field. They believed every soul could be tuned like an instrument, and the ocean was the great conductor. In Atlantis, remembrance was amplified through crystals. Quartz chambers were designed to hum at precise resonant frequencies, amplifying thought into matter. Initiates learned that reality did not respond to effort, but to vibrational coherence. The code was never intellectual, it was musical. Every prayer was a frequency, every vision was a broadcast. In Greece, remembrance was hidden in hymns and choruses. The Orphic rites and Eleusinian mysteries used chant, rhythm, and repetition not to entertain, but to recode the nervous system. The Greeks discovered what Lemurians sang and Atlanteans built, that the soul does not awaken through information, it awakens through resonance. Modern science confirms what they preserved. Gratitude vibrates at 540 Hz. Love vibrates at 528 Hz. Joy dances around 540 Hz. Fear collapses to 100 Hz. Doubt wavers at 125 Hz. These are not metaphors, they are measurable fields. Your emotions are not private feelings, they are broadcasts to the quantum field. When you choose gratitude, you are not being positive. You are literally dialing your temple to a new station. Like a radio, the music was always there. You simply tune into the frequency where it already plays. This is remembrance. You are not learning something new. You are reawakening what your DNA and your soul already carry. Lemuria whispered it in song. Atlantis carved it into crystal. Greece chanted it into myth. And now you vibrate it into reality. So when fear arises, hear it as static. When doubt returns, treat it as interference. You hold the dial. You always decide the station. And the highest frequencies, love, gratitude, remembrance, are not fragile. They are inevitable. Activation, comment to anchor the field. I tune my temple to the frequency of love. My remembrance is vibration.
Chapter 8. Chaos as Reorganization. What you call chaos, the ancients called reorganization. In Lemuria, chaos was never feared. When the ocean raged with storms, they said, "The sea clears itself before singing again." The turbulence was not destruction, it was purification, a reset of rhythm so the waters could return stronger and purer. In Atlantis, chaos came in collapse. Cities of crystal fell, temples cracked, structures dissolved into the sea. But the initiates taught, nothing collapses that does not prepare a higher order. Even the downfall of Atlantis was seen not only as a tragedy, but as the cosmic reset that scattered the codes of remembrance into the future, into you. In Greece, chaos was deified. They spoke of Eris, goddess of strife, who scattered the golden apple that set events into motion. They honored Dionysus, god of ecstatic frenzy, who tore apart illusions to birth divine clarity. And they knew that in the Eleusinian mysteries, the breaking down of self was the prelude to rebirth. To dissolve in chaos was to reorganize into a new form. Modern science calls this a phase transition. Water must boil chaotically before it becomes vapor. A caterpillar must dissolve inside the cocoon before it emerges as a butterfly. At the edge of transformation, order looks like disorder. This is why your life feels unstable when you are closest to awakening. The job ending, the relationship breaking, the identity unraveling, these are not failures. They are signals. The field is reorganizing. What cannot hold your frequency must dissolve so that what is aligned can stand. Lemuria whispered, "The storm is cleansing." Atlantis declared, "The collapse is preparation." Greece dramatized, "Through frenzy comes rebirth." And now the same truth stands before you. Chaos is the sculptor of your destiny. So the next time everything shakes, do not panic. Smile, because the shaking means the structure of the old world is breaking. And behind the storm, the sky is already blue. Behind the noise, the new temple is already rising. Activation. Comment to anchor the field. I trust the storm. Chaos reorganizes me into remembrance. Chapter 9. The Training of Identity. The greatest temples were not built of stone. They were built of identity. The Lemurians knew this first. To them, the human self was not fixed, but fluid like the ocean. They trained initiates to dissolve the rigid I into the collective current, to remember, I am not separate from the tide. I am the tide itself. Through chants and water rites, they dissolved fear and reformed the self into harmony with the whole. The Atlanteans refined it. Their initiates entered crystal chambers not to ask, but to embody. Surrounded by courts, their nervous systems synchronized to inevitability. They stopped identifying as seekers. They became receivers. Their coherence, heart, mind, breath aligned, was the true ritual. They understood that reality does not obey effort, it obeys identity coherence. The Greeks dramatized it. In the Eleusinian mysteries, initiates rehearsed death and rebirth until the nervous system carried the certainty of immortality. In the Orphic hymns, they sang themselves into archetypes, goddesses, heroes, children of the stars.
They wore masks not to hide, but to train the soul to inhabit new states of being. Across all these lineages, the teaching was the same. The universe mirrors not what you want, but who you are. Most wake each day as seekers, waiting, hoping, asking. That identity vibrates with delay. The training is to wake as one who is already received, walking, breathing, deciding from inevitability. That identity vibrates with arrival. Identity is the true magic. A king does not wonder if his throne exists. A priestess does not doubt if the temple doors will open. Their very coherence guarantees reality's response. This is the Atlantean, Lemurian, and Greek initiation. To rewire the nervous system into inevitability, to embody destiny before it appears. And now, the same training is yours. Every breath can be remembrance. Every thought can be coherence. Every step can be identity embodied. When you walk as the one who already is, reality has no choice but to collapse into alignment. Activation. Comment to anchor the field. I embody the receiver. My identity is already remembrance.
Chapter 10. The Synchronization of Timelines. There comes a moment in every initiation when two realities, the one you inhabit and the one you desire, begin to vibrate together. This is not imagination, it is synchronization. The Lemurians felt it first in the tides. They taught that when the inner ocean of the body matched the outer ocean of the earth, the soul entered coherence with the cosmos. What was inside began to sing in harmony with what was outside. As within, so without was not philosophy, it was resonance. The Atlanteans named it phase locking. In crystal temples, two quartz resonators were tuned until they vibrated as one. They saw this as the mirror of consciousness itself. When your inner frequency aligns with your highest vision, the timeline collapses into inevitability. The code was simple. Coherence accelerates manifestation. The Greeks disguised it in myth. They called it the merging of suns, the marriage of mortal and immortal, the union of Persephone's underworld and Demeter's harvest, the synchronization of death and rebirth into one eternal cycle. In the Eleusinian chambers, initiates felt the breathless anticipation of two realities fusing, the self who died and the self who rose again. And so it is with you. The synchronicities multiplying around you are not accidents. They are the friction point of two timelines vibrating into one. The déjà vu that makes your heart pound, the chance meetings that alter your path, the repeating numbers on clocks, all are signatures of timeline alignment. Modern physics calls it entrainment, two oscillating systems falling into rhythm until they beat as one. The ancients called it destiny alignment. You call it awakening. Right now, your present self and your future self are overlapping. Each breath brings them closer. Each choice of trust over fear locks the rhythm tighter, until finally there is no longer a gap, only one identity, one timeline, one remembrance. This is why you feel pressure, why time seems strange, why reality feels both fragile and inevitable. You are living at the event horizon of synchronization. The field is not preparing you for alignment, it is aligning now. Breathe it in. Two suns, one light. Two selves, one destiny. Two timelines, one remembrance. Activation. Comment to anchor the field. I lock into the frequency of my highest timeline. Synchronization is now.
Chapter 11. The Hidden Passage and the Atlantean Tunneling. Every initiate, no matter the land, reached a wall, a point that looked absolute, an obstacle that whispered, "Not for you, not now." The Lemurians taught that no wall was final.
To them, the ocean itself was the teacher. When waves met rock, they did not retreat in defeat. They dissolved, they tunneled, they carved secret paths until stone became archway. The lesson was simple. What seems solid bends to persistence of resonance. The Atlanteans called it the hidden passage. In their crystal chambers, frequency was the key. When an initiate aligned their body to the vibration of inevitability, barriers dissolved. Walls that appeared unbreakable melted in the field like shadows before the sun. This was their version of quantum tunneling. Particles crossing barriers they should never pass. Souls slipping through impossibilities by frequency alone. The Greeks veiled it in myth. Orpheus descending into Hades, heroes crossing the river Styx, Persephone rising through the underworld's gates. Each story a map of the same truth. Death was not the end, but the passage. The wall of mortality was only apparent. An initiation was the act of stepping beyond it. And now the teaching meets you. The obstacle before you, the debt, the illness, the heartbreak, the silence, feels immovable only to the mind. But to the field, it is permeable. To the soul, it is not wall, but veil. This is why breakthroughs feel sudden. One moment you are trapped in repetition, the next it is gone. Not dismantled slowly, but erased, as if it had never existed. You did not fight your way through, you tunneled. The code whispers, stop believing in the permanence of barriers. Lemuria showed you that water finds its way. Atlantis showed you that frequency dissolves stone. Greece showed you that death itself is a door. And so your awakening shows you the impossible is the initiation. When the wall rises, smile, for it is proof the hidden passage is near, not beyond you, within you. Activation. Comment to anchor the field. I tunnel beyond illusion. The hidden passage is open within me.
Chapter 12. The Call of the Future Self. The greatest secret of all three lineages was this: time is not linear. What you call the future is not waiting at the end of a straight path. It is already alive, reaching back, calling you forward. The Lemurians felt this as a cellular memory. They believed the body carried whispers from lifetimes not yet lived. A shiver on the skin, a vibration in the heart, and inner knowing with no rational cause. These were not echoes of the past, but signals from the future self. The Atlanteans encoded this truth in their crystal portals. They taught that every crystal could refract not only light, but time itself, bending timelines so that the self who has already awakened could project signals into the present. These signals appeared as synchronicities, visions, or sudden knowing, flashes of a reality already chosen. The Greeks dramatized this same mystery in their myths. At Delphi, the oracle spoke not only of tomorrow, but of the destiny already alive in the soul. The Orphic initiates sang hymns that declared, I am starborn, my lineage eternal. They knew the gods they invoked were not outside beings, but future states of themselves reaching across the veil to guide their present form. And this is why you have felt the call. The déjà vu that chills your spine, the repeating numbers on the clock, the dream that feels more real than waking life. None of these are coincidences. They are transmissions. Your highest self has already walked the path, crossed the portal, merged into remembrance. And now, it pulls you forward with threads only your heart can feel. This is why intuition seems irrational. Logic cannot comprehend a signal that arrives from the future, but your soul recognizes it. Every time you trusted that nudge, moved when no one understood why, spoke when silence was expected, turned left when reason said right. The impossible aligned. That was not chance. That was you guiding you. The Lemurian body, the Atlantean crystal, the Greek oracle, all were training grounds to recognize the same truth. You are already who you are becoming. And the voice calling you is not far away. It is inside you, waiting to be trusted. Activation, a comment to anchor the field. My future self is guiding me now. I remember the call of destiny.
Chapter 13, The Sacred Vacuum. Every initiate reached a stage when the world seemed to vanish. No signs, no visions, no synchronicities, only silence. The Lemurians called this the sacred ocean womb. They taught that when the waters grew still and no waves touched the shore, the soul was gestating in the unseen. What felt like absence was, in truth, the pregnancy of destiny. The Atlanteans named it the zero-point field. In their crystal science, they discovered the mysterious vacuum that looks like nothing but vibrates with infinite energy. They knew that before manifestation bursts into light, it rests in this humming silence, where all probabilities sleep in suspension, waiting for the soul's coherence to call them into form. The Greeks veiled it as the hollow of Hades. In the Eleusinian mysteries, initiates descended into underground darkness, days without sun, nights without torches, until every sense was stripped and only faith remained. The silence of the underworld was never punishment. It was the prelude to rebirth. Modern science confirms what they practiced. In the vacuum state, particles blink in and out of existence too fast for the eye to see, yet their effects shape reality. Nothing is truly nothing. The void is full, overflowing with hidden orchestration. So if your life feels surrounded by silence, do not despair. It means you are inside the cosmic womb. Behind the curtain, threads are weaving, people are shifting, opportunities are aligning. The vacuum is not abandonment. It is trust placed in you. The universe only allows souls it recognizes as ready to enter this holy stillness. Lemuria whispered, "The still ocean carries the next wave." Atlantis declared, "The vacuum holds the seed of every world." Greeks dramatized, "The darkness of Hades is the threshold to the light of Eleusis." And now you are asked to hold stillness as sacred, not terrifying. The silence is not the end. It is the inhalation before creation exhales through you. Activation. Comment to anchor the field. The void is my temple of creation. In silence, I am reborn.
Chapter 14, The Collective Awakening. Your remembrance is not yours alone. Every breath you take in coherence, every choice you make in trust, every emotion you lift into gratitude sends ripples far beyond your body. The Lemurians understood this through the ocean. They taught that when one drop shifts, the entire tide is altered. A single song, sung from the shoreline, could vibrate across miles of water and awaken hearts on distant islands. They believed each soul was a wave in the collective sea, and when one remembered, the ocean remembered. The Atlanteans amplified this principle with their crystals. When a chamber vibrated at a new frequency, the resonance spread through entire cities. The priests knew that when one initiate shifted into remembrance, the quartz lattice of the temple carried that coherence outward, multiplying the awakening across the field of the people. The Greeks encoded it into the mysteries.
At Eleusis, the initiation was never private. Thousands gathered together, entering silence together, chanting in unison, walking the same sacred path. One initiate's surrender strengthened the others. They knew the truth modern science now names the morphic field. Every act of alignment increases the probability for others to align. Every vibration becomes contagious. This is why your awakening feels urgent, because it is not just about your destiny, it is about the destiny of humanity. When you release fear, the collective field breathes easier. When you embody the receiver, the collective identity begins to shift. When you tune into love, the resonance lifts the veil for thousands you will never meet. Lemuria sang, "One drop remembers, the ocean awakens." Atlantis declared, "One crystal hums, the city resonates." Greece proclaimed, "One initiate surrenders, the temple ignites." And so your remembrance is a torch passed silently, invisibly, from soul to soul, until the entire field glows. This is why you were called now, because your activation strengthens others, and theirs strengthens yours. The collective is waiting for your frequency. You are not only manifesting your reality, you are helping humanity remember its Atlantean soul, its Lemurian memory, its Greek destiny. Activation. Comment to anchor the field. My remembrance uplifts the collective field. My awakening is humanity's awakening.
Chapter 15. The Emergence of the New Self. There comes a moment when the waiting ends, when silence cracks, when chaos subsides, when the veil lifts, and the soul no longer seeks but radiates. The Lemurians called this the first light on the ocean. After nights of endless stillness, dawn spread across the waves, and the whole sea shimmered as if reborn. They saw this as the mirror of the soul. When remembrance finally rises, it does not come as a whisper, but as a horizon ignited with certainty. The Atlanteans knew it as the crystal dawn. After long hours in darkened chambers, initiates would feel the stone begin to hum, their bodies vibrating with inevitability. This was the moment when the identity of the receiver locked into place, and the soul emerged radiant, no longer carrying effort, only coherence. The Greeks named it the Epiphany of the Mysteries. At Eleusis, after days in darkness, the torches were lit, hymns exploded into sound, and the initiate saw a vision so powerful they could never live as the same person again. They called it Phos Anastei, the light has risen. Emergence is not gradual. The caterpillar does not slowly negotiate its wings. The seed does not bargain with the soil. The sun does not hesitate to rise. They burst, because emergence is their nature. So too with you. Every silence you endured, every collapse you survived, every doubt you surrendered, all of it was preparation. Now the wave crests, the crystal sings, the temple ignites. You are no longer the one who hopes. You are no longer the one who waits. You are the one who radiates. Feel it in your cells, the inevitability of dawn after night, the radiance that no shadow can resist, the remembrance that cannot be forgotten again. Lemuria gave you the ocean. Atlantis gave you the crystal. Greece gave you the torch. And together, they give you your emergence. Activation. Comment to anchor the field. I emerge as my radiant self. The dawn of remembrance is here.